Welcome, 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 all my beautiful beings. Hello, Linda. So beautiful to see you after a long time. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on this live call. And today we are working on the 5 steps to changing our financial reality. So let's just get started. I love the presentation rather than simply talking. So here we go. This is the stuff that we are doing today, the 5-step guide to changing your financial reality. And this is a free taster class, 30-minute class based on the book Being You, Changing the World. And this taster class is just a free taster of what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a 3-hour full-length book facilitation of this particular book, which is Being You, Changing the World. So what you're going to see today is just one page from this book, but tomorrow it's the entire presentation of the book. So if you would like to join, you can join that class. But for today, let's just begin. Let's get straight into step number 1. And I would think this as like a second part of the free taster that I did last week. If you all remember last week, it was the one thing that you aren't doing, maybe that would generate more money in your life, maybe. So anyways, we spoke about how choice, right? Remember from last week, how choice plays such an important role in making money, not just an important role, in fact, that is the major part of creating money, generating money in your life. Today, what we are seeing is the entire picture. So what if not just the choice, but there are few steps prior to it, and then there are few steps after that, which consists of these 5 steps. So what are the 5 steps to changing your financial reality? Step number 1, first is to make a demand. And this, as I said, comes from this book, Being You, Changing the World. And basically all of these 5 steps is just one page of the book. First step, make a demand. For those of you who are writing it down, you can write it down. Make a demand. So what is that? As in, hey, this is going to change and something else is going to show up. This is going to change. I don't care if I die, it doesn't matter. I don't care if the world ends. This is changing now. So what is changing? Anything that you want to change, whether it is your financial reality, your relationship, you're having always fight with your partner and you get to that place of frustration. One day you say, this got to change right now, no matter what. So that is the kind of demand that we are talking about. So remember how quickly it changes when there that kind of, it usually, at least in my case, that kind of demand comes only after a long frustration period where I get into that space where this problem might have been going for years or maybe months or maybe weeks. And then finally one day I get totally frustrated and I say, this has to change right now. So there came a point for a very, very long time in my financial reality. There always was this pattern of I make some money and then for a few weeks I'm happy, and then there is no money in my bank account and there is a bill that has to be paid tomorrow and I'm like breaking my head for making that money. So that kind of pattern of not having enough money was going on and on and on. And it was like the cycle. The cycle continued. There was this, some money comes up and then it get used down and then this bill has to pay and then I break my head to make some money and then the pattern continues. And this, I would say at least a good 1 to 2 years, I was in that space. And I was going through all of the holistic healing modalities. I was learning, modalities after modalities, certifications after certifications, doing so many healing sessions. And I still saw myself in that same space of not having enough money. I'll do a healing session. Next week, I'll make some money. And then again, the money drains out. And then again, I get into that pattern. And then I go for another healing session. The same thing continues. I'm like, what's happening here? And how do I change this? And for me, it was this book that kind of helped me take myself out of that pattern. Maybe after 3 to 4 months of me reading the book and giving presentations and learning and applying and using it in my own life, I guess like at least like 4 months after I read the book and then I started implementing. For those of you who might not know the book, it's Love Money, Money Loves You by Sarah Mckram. Okay, that's not the book that we are talking about today. But anyways, just wanted to let you know that kind of pattern. Today, I'm totally out of that pattern. That pattern doesn't exist in my world right now. Anyways, here we are talking about demand. So there came a point in my life, I was like totally frustrated. I was like, I don't want this pattern to continue any longer. What am I supposed to do here? This is done. I'm not subscribing to this pattern any longer. What needs to happen for me to change this? So that kind of demand is what we are talking here. Have you ever noticed that when you are in relationship and you know it needs to change, but you're not willing to demand that it changes, but you know it needs to, but you aren't really willing to demand it, but you know it needs to, and finally when you get to the point where enough knowing it needs to, this is going to change. I don't care if I die, it doesn't matter, I don't care if the world ends, this is changing now, right? So all of those words kind of gives us the energy behind the demand or the energy behind the statement. So what makes it different? Let's say there's the statement of, okay, I have this pattern, I would like to change it. That's a statement, let's assume. And there is another statement, this has to change right now, no matter what. That as well as a statement. But do you see the energy behind those two statements? So, what should the energy of your statement be in order to make it a demand? So, there is a difference between asking and demanding, or saying a statement versus demanding. So, what is that energy behind the demand? And how can you make that demand for your financial reality to change? Remember how quickly it changes, that is a demand. Okay, so I hope now you understand the first step here, which is making a demand. And if you would like to change your financial reality, any kind of financial patterns that you are seeing in your life, you have to, even without going through the frustration period that I told you can still make a demand much prior to going into frustration and still make it happen. But the energy behind it should be a demand. It cannot be just a statement or just a simple ask. That's the first step. Second step. Second is to ask a question. So first step, you have made the demand and you have said, no matter what, my financial reality is changing from today. No matter what, I'm creating this. So your demand is done. Second is what? Second is asking a question. What question are we talking about? Every question you ask opens up a different possibility and a new potential. I hope all of you, if in case you had been following Access Consciousness for a little while, you know the entire thing is about questions. And we also know that every question that we ask opens up a different possibility in our lives. You are making this demand, that's the first step. And then you ask, hey, what's it going to take for this to show up differently? One example, what's it going to take for me to change this financial pattern of lack and scarcity all the time? What does it take for too much money to show up in my life? Too much money here, I feel, is the opposite of not having enough. What would it take for too much money to show up in my life? What can that question create in your life? What would it take for me to manifest or for me to actualize $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever that amount for you is? What would it take for that to happen? That question can create something different in your life. So all of the different questions that you're asking can open up different possibilities in your life. All of a sudden, once you start asking questions, you will see that the doorway opens up that you have never saw before. You stick your head in the doorway and there are all these different paths that you can take. So what does questions do in your life? Questions opens up new doors. And when the new door is opened, now you can see different pathways to get to your desired life. Okay, I have some kind of crazy example here, which when I was creating this presentation today, I was also rereading the book, this specific portion of it. And while I was reading, I was getting these downloads, interestingly, which I felt like interesting example. Okay, here it is. Imagine you are in your home and then there is this trash bin that you have to take and throw it out. So you know that this trash is sitting in your kitchen for a very long time. And what happens if the trash is sitting in your kitchen for a very long time? It smells bad, I guess. I see there's a chat. Hello. All right. So this trash is sitting in your kitchen and you had been like, yeah, there's trash in the kitchen. I think I might have to throw it, but let's see. And then it sits there, and then it sits there, and then it starts to smell bad a little bit. You're like, yeah, I know the smell is coming from there, but let's see, we'll take it later. And this bad smell kind of increases the intensity. And then it increases and then it increases. And then there's this one point where you are super frustrated that you can't even sit in the house because of this bad smell. And you get super frustrated and you say, this I have to do right now, whatsoever. So that's the first step, making a demand. I know it's a crazy example, but that's what I was being shown when I was reading this. Anyways, step number 2 is asking a question. And you're asking, what would it take for me to get this thing out from here? It smells so bad. What would it take for me to get this thing out from here? Second step, asking a question. And when you ask the question, now the doorways are open for you. The door in your house is open now. You can go out and throw it if you would like. Okay. You couldn't see them until you make a demand and ask the question. So you cannot see the doorways, the possibilities that exist without you first making the demand, and then second is asking the question. Once you ask the question, now the doors are open for you to go out. Okay, step number 3. I'll continue my example as I go through these steps. Step number 3 is to wave the magic wand. What is the magic wand? Okay, so this comes from Access Consciousness. If you would like to learn more about it, you might have to go to theclearingstatement.com. Here is the magic wand step. Ask to destroy and uncreate and let go of everything you have created or bought that doesn't allow that to show up as soon as possible. What does that mean? Okay, so let me put this into my financial reality again. I'm asking, okay, whatever it takes, this has to change. And then I asked a question, what would it take for me to have too much money in my life? And then I say, I destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow too much money to show up in my life. I destroy and uncreate everything that I've created, everything that I have bought that doesn't allow too much money to show up in my life. Then you run the clearing statement. So your clearing statement, the clearing statement is the magic wand. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, all 9 shots, boys and beyonds. So if you want to learn more about it, that's what I said. Please go to theclearingstatement.com. This particular statement works like magic. And yes, it is my magic wand as well. So that's the step number 3. Second step, you have asked the question. Third step, you are destroying and uncreating everything that doesn't allow you to receive that thing. So let's say my question was, what would it take for $10,000 to show up in my life? Everything that doesn't allow me to, or I love this particular statement actually. I destroy and uncreate and let go of everything that I have created and bought that doesn't allow $10,000 to show up in my life. Everything that is, I destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pot, all mine, shots, boys, and beyonds. Okay, step number 4 is to choose and to act. And this was the topic that we spoke about entirely for 30 minutes in last week's class. So I'm going to simplify this time. Choose and act. Your fourth step is to make a choice and then to take action. Your choice determines the potential that will occur. In other words, you have got the demand, the question, and then letting go of the limitation. And then it's the choice that actually creates a different potential for the future. You have to choose and act. So, most of us, what we usually do, even if you had been using access consciousness tools for a long time, even in my case, I had been doing those first 3 steps, but then the last 2 steps was the missing piece for me. So I was doing the clearing, right? Everywhere I'm stopping money to come to me, I destroy and uncreate. Everywhere I'm not allowing $10,000 to come into my life, I destroy and uncreate. We keep clearing, 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 clearing. That's only step number 3. What about step number 4 and 5? 4 is to then choose. What should you choose? If you're asking for $10,000, you have to make a choice to actually have that and take action towards it. This is a reality where doing is often required to create things. We are living in a material reality where the doing is also important. In other words, you cannot just sit on your butt and expect change to occur. You have been sold a huge unkindness by the people that believe that you can just ask and receive. And for me, I guess I have come through, the Secret movie and the law of attraction coaching and training and so many books that I've read about it. And all of that only spoke about asking and then receiving. Ask and you shall receive, ask and you shall receive. But it's only after I started learning access consciousness and so many stuff inside of it, I got to know there's a step in between. I have to ask, and then I have to choose and act, and then I can receive. So the choosing and acting plays such an important role, which was one of the major missing pieces for me in my life. Okay, in this reality, you still have to do too. Please don't limit what can show up for you by refusing to act when it is necessary. Asking is one very important step in the process, but it is not the end. If you want to know what actions to take, simply ask every day, what can I do today that would allow this to show up right away? This is a wonderful question. Most of the days I use this. What can I do today that would bring 10 clients into this program that I'm launching? What can I do today that can help me make $100 today? What can I do today that would allow this to show up right away? So if you're writing down, please write down that question. What can I do today? Now the focus is on doing, and doing as well is such an important part. So what can I do today that will allow this and this to show up right away? Whatever your this is, whatever your ask is. So now going back into my example of my trash bin. So now I have got into the frustration of I have to get this thing out. And then I'm asking the question, what would it take for me to just take it and put it out? And then I do the clearing. I'm like, everything that doesn't allow me to take my trash and put it out into the world, I destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion, right, run, good, bad, pop, but all night shoots, boys and beyonds. And then what should I do? I can sit and wait now. The energy will clear it, right? No. I have to go to the trash bin. I have to cover it up. I have to walk down the streets. I have to throw it down, and then I have to come back home. And then I might have to clean the place. I might have to put some flower scent in order for that bad smell to release. So all of that is my action steps. So first I have to make a choice to walk and go, and then I have to take the action to actually take it out. Okay, that's my crazy example for you. Step number 5, receive everything. So here comes the willingness to receive. So what happens when this 5th step is not there? What if you are asking for money? What if you are doing the clearing every day? You destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow you to have the money. You choose and you act, but then your willingness to receive is closed. Your receiving gates are closed. Now, what happens? Now, how can money show up in your world, in your life? So, this receiving, I personally in my life have learned that it's like a muscle. And even today, I might be just 29%. If I have to measure my willingness to receive, maybe that's just 29%. What is your willingness to receive? If there is a percentage to it, what is that number that's coming up? Okay, so let's see. For this to work, for things to change, you have to be willing to receive everything that shows up with no judgments or exclusion. Trust the universe. Now, here is also one of those important points. Please know you don't control when something shows up or exactly what it looks like. The universe does. So the creation process is, you are doing the choosing, you are doing the asking, but universe is working for you and making it happen for you. So the universe is aware of infinite possibilities that go way, way, way beyond every fantasy that you may have of what the perfect example of what the perfect example relationship should look like. So at the end of the day, it is universe that is kind of helping us doing the stuff for us. So it knows totally something different that we might not even be able to imagine, because you are not alone in this world. The universe has to rearrange, and the important word here is rearrange. The universe has to rearrange a lot of people's universes in order to create a major outward shift in the world. If you had been asking for $10,000 or whatever your money is, your ask is, in order for that to happen, the universe might have to rearrange itself, may have to bring you 10 new clients, and for those clients to come to you, universe has to rearrange those 10 people's life as well, whatever is happening in their reality. So there is so many stuff that's going in the background. The minute you ask might not be the minute it gets immediately, it might not immediately come into your world. There might be that time gap, and that time gap is required for the universe to rearrange itself. Yes, some things happen on the same day, some things might happen in 10 days, some things might happen in 10 years. So you may ask today and receive it in 10 years or 10 seconds from now. So if it doesn't show up tomorrow, right, you're learning this presentation 5-step today, and then you go ahead and implement it today, and maybe nothing shows up for you tomorrow. That doesn't mean that you are wrong. That doesn't mean the 5 steps are wrong. That doesn't mean that anything is wrong. It means maybe that the universe is rearranging and making it happen for you in the background. And please know, it will probably look completely different than you have ever imagined. So this is also a very, very important point here. So let's say I'm asking for $5,000, and let's say today I have no income, right? So it's zero today, and I'm asking for $5,000 income. In order for that to happen, I might have to start providing services to the world. I might have to go for a job. I might have to find a new profession. I might have to learn some skills. There would be 10 steps prior to that. So I have to kind of take those steps and learn those things and do those things in order for me to reach that $5,000 income. So when I'm asking for $5,000, maybe tomorrow $5,000 doesn't come into my world. Instead, I might be taken to a website which is selling some kind of skill development. For example, marketing, learn marketing skill, and then that could be showing up in my world. That is the universe trying to fulfill my request. but then it is showing up totally differently. It's not money that's showing up, it's something else showing up. It might be opportunities, it might be ideas, it might be people, something else can show up. The more we kind of take that action and keep moving, we can now reach that money that's waiting for us. Alrighty, so that's the end of those 5 steps. So let's take a quick look at the summary. First is to make the demand. Second is to ask the question, what is it going to show up for this to show up? Or what can I love this question as well. What can I change, choose, contribute, and receive that will allow for this to show up? What can I change, choose, contribute, and receive for this to show up? For $5,000 to show up, for $1,000 to show up, for 10 clients to show up, whatever it is. That's a beautiful question. And then you do the pod and POC. You destroy everything that is stopping you from having that. And then you choose an act. You make the choice, and the choice determines how the things are going to go. And then you receive everything. Receiving everything means receiving the ideas, receiving the skills that you might have to take, everything that is taking you to that main thing that you're asking for. And this also could also mean judgments, right? If you're going to make a lot of money, maybe your people around you, your family members are going to judge you. Are you willing to receive those judgments? So receiving everything means literally everything. So that's the end of this beautiful 5 steps. If any of you would like to choose to join the entire presentation, you can do so. You can message me for that. Alrighty, so we are done. How are you all doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you, all of my beautiful beings. I'm gonna see you tomorrow in the 3-hour class. Thank you, Mahasan. So beautiful to see you. See you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.